The first few days of the MLB season have been absolutely thrilling. Today, Matt and I are here to talk about some of the best and worst performances so far. So lock on in and get ready for today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here as always with my brother, my co-host, Matthew Ane.
Yo.
You can find us on all podcasting apps and social media platforms. Just search for Locked On Fantasy Baseball and we'll be there. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other platforms that allow 5-star ratings and writing a little review, goes a long way to help the outreach of the podcast, and we truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little subscribe button and it notifies you every time that we drop a new episode. Also, please be sure to like and comment because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. This episode is brought to you by the Ultimate Baseball GM app. Download the Ultimate Baseball GM app today and experience what it's like to be an MLB GM. Use promo code LOCKED ON for when you download the app and you get 100% bonus back. So on today's episode, Matt and I are talking about some of the best and worst player performances so far this season. And Matt, why don't you lead us off with one of the best so far?
Yes, sir. And that's going to be Mr. Spencer Strider. I mean, he's just picking up right where he left off last year and is just rolling. I mean, geez. You know, in his first outing, he had 6 innings pitched. He had 9 strikeouts. Didn't give up a run at all. And, you know, the whip was just a 1, so it was really nice. And I'm really loving what he's going to do. I'm really hoping that this is a season-long situation. Spencer Strider, if he can keep this going, can be one of the best arms in baseball, and he's just showing that he's got it, you know, right back where he left off, and I'm really excited about Spencer Strider.
Yeah, Strider is one of my boys, and you guys know if you listened last year, somebody was raving about all season long. I told you to go out there and pick him up. And if you drafted him so far this season, you're definitely very excited about what he's done so far. In that start against the Nationals, he looked fantastic. He threw 96 pitches overall, and out of those 96 pitches, 16 of them got swings and misses. And another 14 of them got strikes looking. So the stuff looked absolutely elite. I think the guy just keeps it rocking and rolling. And once again, if you drafted Spencer Strider as one of your aces, you're looking pretty happy so far. I know it was only against the Nationals, so it was a little bit easier of a matchup. But I think, you know, still one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he's going to keep it going for years to come, hopefully. So next up, I think Matt and I have to apologize about this one because Matt and I were kind of down-talking this guy a little bit. But it's Mr. Dylan Cease. And, oh, boy, did Dylan Cease go out there and absolutely dominate. So Dylan Cease went out there against the Astros, and he did his thing with the pinpoint control. He pitched 6.1 innings. He gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts. He did not walk anybody, and it was just a dominant performance there. So once again, Dylan Cease, kind of in the sense of Spencer Strider, had everybody off their, off balance. He threw 86 pitches, and he had 16 strikes looking, and he had 14 swinging strikes. So nobody was able to really time him up or do much with him. And Dylan Cease looks ready to rock again this season. And I apologize for down talking this guy because it looks like he has proven himself, and he's headed in the right direction for the season.
Yeah, I mean, Cease is known to have these games. Like, Cease does have these blow-up games and where he just straight up just throws a million strikeouts in a game because that's what he's capable of doing. The problem is he can give up runs. He just happened not to in this game. I still stand by my point that he'll be a bust, in air quote, of where he was drafted. Not that he's going to have a bad season, you know. He was drafted as a top 10, top 15 arm. He'll probably fall to the 30 mark where I think or 40 mark where I think he's probably going to fall just because his ERA where he likes to give up runs. He just had a moment of genius, which he's capable of. Dylan Cease is not a bad pitcher. He's a great pitcher. Just sometimes I feel he gets in his own head. And this is one of those great performances. So on the other side of that ball, let's talk about Mr. Yordan Alvarez. Yordan, I guess, just did not have an injury. I guess the hand is just not affecting him. Or maybe he only needs one hand to swing. We'll see. Because, Yordan just got the power of Zeus himself. And Yordan just decides to just smack the ball all around the place. He had a great couple of games in 3 games of baseball. I'm trying to get his stats up right quick. So he's killing it. And he already has 4 runs, a bomb, 5 ribs, and batting .455. And he's got a hit in every game too. Like, opening day, right? He had a hit and got a bomb and 2 runs. The 31st, he got a hit and then went 3 for 5 yesterday. So how you doing, Mr. Yordan Alvarez? I think he's just ready to scoop up and continue being one of the best bats in baseball. Unfortunately, we all kind of faded him and let him slip down in the dress because of that hand injury. And if you had the cojones to draft him early or just in the first round, you're looking real smart right now. And congratulations to you because Yordan Alvarez is absolutely killing it so far through 3 days of baseball.
Yeah, I've always been a big Yordan Alvarez fan, and the thing, it just seems like when he gets hurt, he just bounces back from those injuries pretty quick. I know he was dealing with those knee issues a few years ago, and even a little bit last year, and he's just shown that he'll bounce back. He's still fairly young. He just looks like injuries aren't a huge concern with him. We haven't really seen him struggle through any of these injuries, so I'm high on Yordan Alvarez, and he's definitely looks like he's gonna in for another big season. He's got the upside of, Aaron Judge of hitting, 50 bombs with that good Houston lineup. And the sky's the limit for Yordan Alvarez. Let's move on to another young buck and somebody that I was telling you guys, I think he's finally going to put it all together, and it looks like he has so far, and that's Wander Franco. So far with 2 games played, Wander Franco is showing us, hey guys, I'm here at 22 years old and I'm ready to be the star that everyone thought I was. So through those 2 games, Wander Franco's had 8 at-bats. He's had 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs. He's struck out only once, and he's walked once, and he's hitting 625 so far. Now, the thing is that everyone kind of wrote Wander Franco off after, 2 kind of mediocre years. But don't forget, last year he was dealing with some injuries, and, he's pretty much looking like, okay, he's ready to take off. He was number 1 prospect for like 2 years in a row. That Rays team isn't too shabby either. They got a bunch of ball players on that team, and with Wander Franco looking like he's looking, I just think, once again, I know I keep saying the sky is the limit, but it really is Wander Franco. And if you drafted him, he was going pretty late this year, especially if you got him in like a dynasty or a keeper league, a startup. You probably got a great bargain on the kid. So you know what? I'm very happy to see this with Wander Franco.
Yes, sir. Sometimes it just takes a little bit with the younger guys. He's still only 20, which is just absolutely bananas.
22.
Is it 22?
22.
Oh, sorry. 22. Still, with being 22, I read the wrong thing. With him being 22, it takes a little bit for them to adjust. It's not like he had bad outings. He just wasn't living up to the hype that therefore is Wander Franco. So maybe we're about to see this breakout year where it's just going to be, boom, he's here. So I'm really looking forward to see what he can do this year. If he does hit, Jesus, you got to steal this year, and congratulations. Hey, Dom, I think you got to talk about somebody real quick.
Yes, sir. So, guys, I'm really excited by our new partner and sponsor of today's episode, the mobile game Ultimate Baseball GM. Have you ever dreamed of becoming an MLB GM and managing your own professional baseball franchise? Well, guess what? Your dream has come true. In this game, you get to manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through the season, and lead your team to glory. You are responsible for hiring the right coaches and staff, managing team finances, scouting and drafting players and managing those difficult personalities, navigating your franchise through free agency and all the ups and downs of a season. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and playable without Wi-Fi, so play on the go, as you want, where you want. I've been absolutely hooked on this game since I've downloaded it. You can compete against your friends like Matt and I have been doing, and you and your friends should absolutely do the same. Locked On Fantasy Baseball listeners get a free 100% boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On. So make sure to check it out today. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the App Store. That's probaseballgm.com. Start your dynasty today. So with that being said, Matt, I think you want to talk about our next guy here, and he's been absolutely mashing so far.
Yep, and that's Mr. CJ Cron. It's crazy. He's starting off hot again. I hope he can maintain this and just be the guy. You know, the Rockies lineup with CJ Cron and Chris Bryant and all them are just, have the potential to just really go off, and the home runs just fly out of the stadium, as you know, and it's really looking like CJ Cron is taking advantage of it. Because, my guy is just showing off and showing up right now. Right now, through 3 days of baseball, it's 3 days, but still 3 days of baseball. He's a number one player right now based off of his what do you call it, performance, right? He's got 3 runs. He's got 3 bombs, 7 ribs, and batting .636. How you doing? And it's not like this was done between like one game where he had just like a massive blow-up game. No, he's got a hit in 3 games. He had a double dong on opening day, and then he hit a bomb yesterday. And he's really doing his thing. Let's go CJ Cron. If this keeps up, and you got him later in drafts, you're probably feeling like a genius right now. Good for you. And you know what? Here's another quick tip about CJ Cron. If you're feeling a little frisky and you see like a first baseman that you'd prefer to have for a season-long season, you probably could trade CJ Cron for that and something else, because right now this is a perfect time to sell high. I'm not saying it's going to fall, it's going to fall right out from under him, but you know what? Maybe take advantage of the early success and try and trade him and get a whole nice boatload of things for CJ Cron.
Yeah, the thing that I like about what CJ Cron's done so far is all the games were away from Coors Field. And last year, his CJ Cron's splits were absolutely horrible away from Coors. He was very bad on the road. His most of his success took place in Coors Field. So far in those first 3 games at San Diego, he's been lighting it up, hitting bombs. I think CJ Cron really took it upon himself this offseason to say, hey, you know what? I really want to be a great baseball player. And, he probably fine-tuned some things because he's looking absolutely great. I like the plate discipline so far, too. 2 strikeouts to 2 walks. Looks absolutely phenomenal. And, he's batting cleanup in that Rockies lineup so far. Rockies are 2-1. Chris Bryant looks to be back in, prime Chris Bryant form. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for CJ Cron to drive everybody in. And he's got, 30, 35 home run upside. So he's definitely somebody that I'm enjoying the success of so far. And if you guys were with us last year, I called CJ Cron as one of my breakout first basemen, and he absolutely did that last year, and it looks like he's on the same path again this year. But let's keep it moving. Let's talk about our next guy here, and it's Starling Marte. So now he was another guy like Yordan Alvarez that, kind of moved down draft boards a little bit because of, the injury concern. And it just seems like, it's not bothering him so far. He seems like he's in, prime form right now. So far, Starling Marte's played 3 games this season, 9 at-bats, 1 run, 5 hits, a double, an RBI, 2 steals, and he's hitting .556. Now, the thing is that you probably drafted Starling Marte for the batting average than the steals, and that's what he's doing so far. Those 2 steals are looking very nice, with those bigger bags, and it's, his sprint speed is still up. Starling Marte stole 47 bags in 2021, and, he's been a very good steals guy throughout his career. And even though he's a little bit older, as I mentioned, that sprint speed is still looking pretty nice. And, he's got 30 steal upside, even as a 34-year-old here. And in that Mets lineup, he's going to score a lot of runs. The batting average is .290 on his career, so I think he's going to stay around there. Just definitely somebody that I'm liking what's going on with him so far. And real quick, just wanted to check on where has he been hitting. He's been hitting second. So, it's looking very, very good for him in that Mets lineup with Alonso behind him. And I like Starling Marte. And once again, you probably got a bargain on him right now. So, congratulations if you did take him.
Yeah, no, Starling Marte is looking to prove a lot of people wrong this year. It's especially in the fantasy community. I'm all about what he's doing right now. It's really nice. Let's go Starling Marte, especially with outfield being so putrid. I was wondering if he was going to hurt people more than help people, and so far it looks like it's going in the positive direction. So if you got him at a value, and way to go. Let's move on here. Let's talk about now guys that have kind of taken a dump in the first 3 days of baseball. and kind of really just haven't been able to get in the swing of things. Not saying they won't, because there's a lot of big names, people that were drafted pretty high coming up that we're going to talk about. And, we'll start off with this guy here, Mr. Luis Robert. Through 3 days of baseball, I mean, again, we're talking about, should we be overreacting to how they're doing and how well they are, or are we gonna just put it off as past and just like, okay, they're gonna figure it out. Roberts is one of those people I feel is going to figure it out, right? Because I mean, Roberts, as long as he stays healthy, the upside is outrageous, just like we've talked all off season long. And I think he's just having a rough go of it right now. So I mean, he's only got 3 hits out of 14 at bats, and he's batting about 214, and only got 1 run in the bag. So it's one of those things where, hey, it's a little bit rough on him. And I mean, it's not like he's going up against terrible pitching and he's doing this. He's going up against the Houston Astros the last 3 days, and we all know what that pitching staff looks like. So I mean, you can understand why he's performing the way he is. So this is more of like a pause, take a step back. He's gonna figure it out. He's pitching. He's going up against some of the best pitching in all of baseball right now. So I mean, let's just take a chill on him. If anything, right now, I don't know how you guys feel about early season trading, but he may be a trade target. You might be able to get him on the cheap. Be like, look, and really sell it. Like I always tell people, look, he's already performing bad. He could get hurt tomorrow. He's got them weak phalanges. So, see if you can kind of like talk that person into being like, oh man, maybe I made a mistake, and see if you can get him on the cheap. I mean, these are the perfect opportunities, and this is actually the perfect time too, because the first couple of days of baseball, people overreact to what's going on, and oh my God, I drafted like crap. Let me make a trade, or let me drop this guy. And this is one of those scenarios we could probably take advantage and manipulate somebody on handing over Luis Roberts.
Yeah, Matt, you hit the nail on the head there, and I'm just gonna, vibe off of what you said in the sense of that now is the perfect time to throw out those trade offers early season and go after, like, we have a couple more guys lined up here, and they're all pretty much trade targets. Anyone that was, first round, second round pick that just has been doing it for a long time, and if they're not performing good so far, it's literally, as Matt said, the perfect time to go out there, throw out those trade offers, and just to make sure that, you can, literally take advantage of the situation that we're in right now. Everyone gets upset. Everyone's worried if their team's not doing good so far. Go out there and I would go through every team in your league and find, their best player that isn't performing and throw out a trade offer and go from there. Because once again, if somebody's been a great player for a long time and they're not performing well at the beginning of the season, just go out there and take advantage of that. But when it comes to Luis Roberts specifically, I'm not enthusiastic about the outlook so far. So far, it's 6 strikeouts, no walks. Some guy, he's normally a little bit better with that plate discipline. He's not really performing at all in any of the other categories. He did go 2 for 4 on opening day, so that was a good sign. But he has struggled a little bit down the stretch. Not too worried about him yet, but I would like to see him bounce back in the next week or so.
Yep. And before we move on and Dom gives you his next guy, we have some wonderful sponsors that we got to talk about here. If you like me and you have a full-time job and you go to the gym sometimes, you need a quick snack that's not high in calories but still tastes great, you've got to try Built Bar. I'm not sure how Built Bar does it, but these bars taste absolutely delicious while maintaining amazing macros. What's even better is that they're healthy for you. Built Bars have only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar. It's a whopping 17 grams of protein. They come in unbelievable flavors like cookies and cream, double chocolate, coconut puffs, and now you don't even need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about Built Bar and having to order them at BuiltBar.com. Now you can go get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. So go get your Built Bar now and try out these amazing flavors. Built Bar is great. All right, Dom.
Yeah, guys. So let's keep moving here, and we got another, star that's been struggling so far, and it's Mr. Bobby Witt Jr. So far, 2 games for Bobby Witt, 6 at bats, no runs, no hits, nothing on the board yet for Bobby Witt. And it's a little disappointing to just see that Royals team in general just absolutely struggling so far, man. I mean, we had a lot of high hopes for that Royals team and really thought, him, Vinny P, MJ Melendez, and the rest of the crew would really get it going. But they're 0 for 2 so far, and they've only scored I don't think they have scored yet. Actually, they haven't scored any runs yet in the season, which is, like I said, super disappointing. And if they're going to be a good team, the Royals, Bobby Witt is going to have to be the guy that carries them and takes them to the promised land. So, we really want to see a little bit more from the kid. He had a strong out showing last year for Bobby Witt. It was 150 games, 82 runs, 31 doubles, 6 triples, 20 bombs, 80 RBIs, 30 steals, and he had 254. So once again, Bobby Witt is really going to have to get on that horse and lead the drive for this Royals team, because if he doesn't, I don't see them being a good baseball team this year. And let's hope for better days with Bobby Witt. And I think now is the perfect time to throw out a trade for Bobby Witt. He's eligible, I believe, at third and short on Yahoo. So, third is a position that doesn't have a lot of great players out there. So go out there and see if you can get a sneaky trade for Bobby Witt right now.
Yep. I mean, hey, this is one of those scenarios, too, where we may be seeing a sophomore slump, even though I don't believe it's going to happen. I love Bobby Witt. But hey, that's a great talking point for when you're trying to get that trade done. So, see what you can do there. I mean, I don't know if I'm Bobby Witt. If I'm the Bobby Witt owner, I'm probably not trading him. One, because of the draft capital I had to invest in. Two, just based off of the fact that I see the upside. So, try it. I mean, you got to shoot your shot, because you won't. If you don't shoot, then you'll never know if you're going to be able to pull it off or not. I'd rather get the no. But let's move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Kyle Schwarber and the horrible Philadelphia Phillies right now. They're putting runs on the board. They just can't get out of their way and stop giving up leads. And Schwarber just has been ice cold. I mean, not that this is going to be a permanent scenario, but we need to talk about it for all you guys that are probably having a frantic panic attack over Schwarber. He hasn't gotten a single hit, period. He's got a rib because he, was able to drive one and get a long out, but that's really just about it. I mean, Schwarber is going to bounce back. He does this. He's also not really like a batting average guy, his career 250 hitter. So, he's going to go through these stints where he just doesn't get bats. It doesn't get hits or anything, but he will bounce back. And also, too, Philly just seems to be in their own way right now. So it's probably just a vibe in the bullpen and in the dugout. So I foresee him bouncing back soon, because Philly is just a fighter, and they're gonna figure it out. And Schwarber's probably going to be the guy that leads the way and probably come out hot. So he's another one you probably could try and trade for, but again, most people won't do it.
Yeah, the thing with Schwarber is he's such a hot and cold type of hitter, man. I mean, he went through stretches last year where he was absolutely on fire. I know if you had Kyle Schwarber in the playoffs last year for fantasy, he absolutely carried you, because I know that last couple weeks of the season, he brought me home a fantasy championship. And then we'll say this, he started off pretty cold last year as well. Schwarber hit 169 through April and March last year, and then he hit 196 in May, and then he got super hot in June. He hit 12 home runs in June last year to hit a 272 clip. Then he had 10 home runs in July, and he had 10 home runs through September and October. So right now is a great time to go out there and throw that Kyle Schwarber owner a buy low offer. Just be like, he was supposed to be so good without the shift. He doesn't have a hit yet. There's no way he's going to hit 46 bombs again. And if you can get Kyle Schwarber on the cheap, he's going to bounce back. Bryce Harper's going to be back at some point in that lineup, and they're gonna pull together that Phillies team. And I think Schwarber will be a big catalyst of the reason why that Phillies teams wind up being super good. 40 plus home run upside for the kid. And, I do think that batting average is higher than 218 last year. I could see him hitting once again, he's a career 232 hitter. I could see him getting back to around that. So definitely a time to buy low on Kyle Schwarber. I'm not too worried about him yet. And like I said, the first couple of months were a struggle for him last year. So even if he struggles through the whole month, that power upside is still there for Kyle Schwarber. But let's move on to our last guy, and that's somebody I was preaching about. So I'm sorry if you had him and, he got shelled. That's Chris Sale. And, Chris Sale did not look great against that Orioles team. They took him deep 3 times. He gave up 7 earned runs. But you know what? He still did have, I believe it was 6 strikeouts. He didn't pitch too many innings either. What was it? It was 3 innings. He gave up 7 hits, 2 walks, and he just didn't look like his best Chris Sale self. So, he didn't really pitch a lot last year where, he's still trying to get into form. His spring training was not that great either. But, the guy's only thrown, about 50 innings over the last couple of years. So I think it's going to take a little bit for Chris Sale to get back up to form. And right now, you can probably get him dirt cheap. Whoever's the Chris Sale owner is probably freaking out. And, he's like, oh, my God, Chris Sale, he's done. That's it. But let me talk you through this, guys. Chris Sale still got up to 97. He threw, 3 pitches around 97 in that outing. He was averaging around 95, so you like to see that. He was mixing in that 4-pitch mix like he always does, that 4-seam, that changeup, that sinker, that slider. So it's good to see, that he was doing his thing out there. It didn't result. The results weren't the best, but I still think Chris Sale has a lot of upside. Could be a top 30 pitcher this year. As long as he stays healthy and he stays out there on the mound, I still think there's a lot of opportunity for, Chris Sale to get back to similar to his old form. I don't think he'll be the ace that he used to be, but hey, if he can get you a mid-3s ERA, a lot of strikeouts, he's always been, a pretty solid whip guy, career 104 whip. So I think Chris Sale, bounces back at some point as long as he's healthy. And then you go throw a super buy low offer on him right now. I think you can get him for cheap.
To be honest, you might even see Chris Sale out on the waiver wire after this weekend. Chris Sale is one of those people that went really cheap anyway. So like if people are making adjustments like, screw it, he took a dump, he's not back, he's not going to be back, early reactions, you might get lucky, somebody might drop him. So like this is also the time of the year too where we haven't had this conversation with the do in season, but not only check who's out on the waiver wire, but go to your transaction page and see who's dropped, because this could be a valuable drop in one of those. It's like, I overreacted, and now I scooped them up. Let's see what happens, and boom, it's gold. And this is how you win your leagues. You don't just win it at the draft. You win it, through the whole season on the waiver wires and who you start and whatnot. And this could be one of those pickups where Sale can be pure gold. And what's the worst that happens? You scoop him up, and then he does jack nothing. I mean, you drop him. He's cheap. He was a cheap thing anyway. If you have him, hold him. If you don't have him, you see him out of the waiver wire, pick him up. And if you want to throw a quick trade out there for him, go for it. I mean, you probably don't have to give much. So, Dom, with that being said, wrap it up, baby.
Yeah, I'm just going to chime in off of what you said. You're making so many great points today, Matt. And it's right. This is not the time to overreact. It's 3 games into the season. I know we're all excited that baseball's back and baseball's here. But as Matt said, you check who was dropped, check your waiver wire. Shout out to Trayce Thompson, Klay Thompson's brother. I know he hit 3 home runs. Everyone's going to go out there and overreact. Don't drop a Kyle Schwarber for a Trayce Thompson. I mean, you can give Trayce Thompson a shot, but get rid of one of the guys at the bottom of your roster. I know, like a few years back, actually it's more than a few years back. I don't know if you can play in fantasy while watching these baseball, but I remember Chris Davis of the Orioles. There was the year he hit like 50 home runs. He had a bad start to the season. I dropped him. I picked up some, hot name guy, and I regretted it all season long as Chris Davis just went off and did his thing. You don't want to do that, so buy low on the guys that are struggling, that are superstars. We named a few of them, and don't overreact to, a lot of these, guys coming out of nowhere and having a monster season. Yeah, it's worth giving them a shot, like a Trayce Thompson, but don't drop anybody super, super important. Wait 2-3 weeks, and we'll keep you updated here on Locked On Fantasy Baseball as to what you should be doing with your fantasy baseball team. But with that being said, that's all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Check out our website if you already haven't. That website's going to have a lot more information coming. Right now is a little bit about us. You can have access to all of our episodes. But Matt and I are going to be writing columns and, stuff like that. We're going to have streaming pictures for you guys. We're going to have waiver wire segments on there for you guys. And we're just going to have general and fantasy baseball information posted on there. And thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. And why don't you make your second listen Locked On Reds with our pal Jeff. He's a great host. The Reds have so many young prospects that are up and coming, and he'll keep you informed on all of those prospects, as well as the Reds team in general. We got a couple of guys on the Reds. India's looking good. Tyler Stevenson's looking good. So, go check out Locked On Reds. Make sure you make them your second listen each and every day. We will be back tomorrow with a new episode, so make sure you stay locked in with us, and we'll talk to you then. So, see you.
Peace.